think, about 140. That was then when Girls Day Out was officially born. I started the thought process of Girls Day Out back in, I believe it was November, December 2019. I had this idea in my head for a few years, and I really just didn't think that it would translate and people would actually be interested. Fast forward to 2020, which was our first event down in Gatton. It was a prototype event. It was basically a concept. We spoke to a few companies that jumped on board. We had just put a register out there to see who would actually be interested. And we had, I think, about 140 girls register. And for the ladies that did attend, it was insanely hot. It was no shade. But we had between 60 and 80 girls show up, which for me was astonishing that would actually happen. That was then when Girls Day Out was officially born. That's when the concept, the ideas, the thoughts started flowing of how we could grow. And for the girls that came to our first event to how they see our events now, it has transformed so much. And every year we try and transform it more and more and learn and teach more and help women grow. So 2020 was a stepping stone for us to jump into a really big pond. And fast forward now to where we are now, 2024 has rocked Girls Day Out in a good way and a bad way. So for many that know, I fell pregnant August last year. For anyone that met me in the Melbourne show last year, I'm sorry. I was about 6 weeks pregnant and just did not want to participate. I'm pretty sure people see me almost passed out on chairs because I was just non-coherent, didn't want to be there. I was not comfortable. Pregnant women, you get it. It's not a great time. Just before Christmas, we had to move, and that was extremely hard because, being heavily pregnant, it's the last thing you really want to do. So we picked up and moved, but I believe it was January, we started having severe health complications with myself, with Bub, and for parents that have been through that, it's a really hard time. The local hospital was extremely accommodating and helped us through a lot. However, my mental state went down the plug hole big time. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do anything. I was not in a great place. We then had Mr. Michael. Yet again, hospital was absolutely amazing compared to what happened with Lucifer. The hospital was absolutely amazing. They helped us through everything. Then he was about 3 weeks old, and we started getting complications with him more. We were in and out of hospital weekly. Probably had the biggest scare of a parent's life. We went to our local hospital and basically got told, we're about to air fly you down to Brisbane, which for us was the scariest probably point. That put a really big pause into where I wanted to run GDO. Now, once we finally got over all his hurdles, we then had my own hurdles. So my mental state was getting better. That was progressing, and I was actually starting to feel like myself again and starting to feel like I could be happy with what I was doing. Then all the health complications from birth started to roll in. And because of that, I was unable to drive. I was unable to fly. I was unable to lift. I was unable to do anything. So that made things really, really hard, which is one of the reasons we cancelled most of the events this year, because I physically could not give my 100%. And I really didn't want to be in that position again where I couldn't give my all. So the best thing for us was to cancel the events. We left 2, but they're very low maintenance events for me, so I don't have to lift or anything. And don't get me wrong, health is getting better, but we needed something that basically I could restart and make sure my health was better. Well, my health was getting better. 2024 is almost over for us. So we've got a handful of shows left, and then basically our year's done. Now I've got if you ask my husband, he hates it. I have a folder that's about this big. It is my diary and my notebooks. I think I have about 3 or 4 notebooks in it. And because of that, I carry my life in it. I think I have a book for like every single thing that I plan, organize, think about. You know, if you've got ADHD, there's a good chance that you probably have 1,000 books everywhere. That's definitely me. But in that book, I have the events I want to try and achieve next year, which we're actually in talks with, so that's coming. The shows that we're about to skyrocket, my master classes I want to start doing, my online classes that we're trying to get smashed out. But as well as that, I've got my builds. I needed to strip back and go back to what I know and what I wanted to start doing as well, and how I originally wanted to start helping girls. And one of them is installs and our builds. So we're in the process of actually jump-starting Archie, which I'll get to in a minute, and rebuilding her. Now, I'm not talking engine just yet. That is to come eventually. But right now, she needs everything else. 2023 Coffs Harbour, I spat a spigot bearing. Destroyed it, like gone, done. Drove her home, don't know how, but we did. And I parked her up. We are fortunate that we have multiple cars, so I parked her up and she's lived there since. We couldn't even drive her when we moved her, like that's how far gone she is. So we towed her to the new house, and she's just lived there. She hasn't moved. And I finally kind of got the itch that, I'm sick of seeing my baby in the driveway, not being driven, not being worked on. So I wanted to rebuild her from the ground up, literally. So that sparked the idea of the build series. Not easy with children and work and everything else in between, but the build series. So originally the plan for her was I wanted to chop her. I'm not allowed to chop her because it's just not feasible. I've got 2 kids and it's just too hard. So I needed to create a wagon that was going to be an absolute beast. And that's what sparked my whole designing of the build. So she may not look 100% different on the outside, but she will be very, very different. She's going to have a one-of-a-kind rear setup. That includes how I'm doing the 12-volt, what I'm putting in there, which I'm not going to give away too much just yet, but redesigning that whole rear. Along with that, I need to make it family-friendly. So got 2 kids, so I need to make sure that I can fit a pram in there or fit a bucket full of toys or whatever. I need to make sure there's enough room in there for me to be able to fit stuff for the kids. So I need to make it functional for myself, functional for the kids. So that's what my thought process for the rear was. I've got a bunch of other things I'm going to be adding to it and making it pretty and shiny and nice and new. But that is the beginning. The whole build was around the fact that I was sick of her sitting in the driveway doing nothing. Girls Day Out, where's it going? What's it doing? How's it doing it? Etc. I think I've talked about online content, workshops, events, etc., shows. So 2025, we have about 5-6 events coming of our own events. That includes beginner days. That includes workshop days in multiple locations. I believe we're possibly going to do another advanced day. Possibly. So there's a few that are questioned, but there is definitely going to be a few beginner days. There's definitely going to be some workshop days. One of the biggest changes that we're changing next year is capacity. So we've had a few events, I think it was last year, that were very low in numbers. And we found they were the best events we've ever held. It was more informational. The girls actually were getting amongst it. They were being a bit more active with our events. So next year, I'm definitely going to be limiting the numbers. And I won't be holding multiples of the same events. That'll be it. So for example, the Gordon Country event that we do, the Beginner Bush in Queensland, we'll have our limited numbers with that, and I'll be holding it once. Reason I say that is not only do we have our own events, but we also do the four-wheel drive shows, which is where a lot of you guys would have met us. We have a plan for how many we're doing next year, and if we do them, there is a limit with how much time we have. So because of that, I need to make sure we balance all of that. That being said, at the four-wheel drive shows, we'll be holding some, what I'm going to call mini workshops. So they're not going to be our full weekends or full days, but they will be bits and pieces of what we actually do. So that way you can get a grasp of it, and if you're actually interested in what we do. Along with that, we're also going to be smashing out our online content. So online workshops. That means that all of our workshops that we do in person, we'll be releasing online. Now, I'm not sure how we're going to release them yet, but they will be released online. These are for the girls that can't attend, don't have time to attend, or whatever the case may be. We understand. So I wanted to create a platform where women could go on and learn these. Now, with these workshops we're doing online, they will be broken down extensively. So tire workshop, probably our most popular one we do. It may be a 2-3 hour workshop online, but that is because it's completely broken down. Now, what is the difference between our in-person workshops and our online workshops? Well, obviously in person you get to play it. You get to play, you get to touch, you get to do. Online, the difference is that it's for your reference. It's yours. You can do what you want with it. You can learn with it. It's for you to take how you wish. So it is a bit more convenient. What else is happening online? So we are now starting to do some more trips. As I said, it's the build series, which will include a bunch of installs. There's 12-volt installs, UHF installs, light installs, anything you could think of, we're installing. I wanted to do this because I was actually scrolling through YouTube one day and looking up videos of how I want to set my car up, and there was nothing on there that was 100% answering it for me. So I wanted to create a platform in an area where you can kind of go to one spot and it narrows down what you're chasing.